My name is Andres Cortez. Serving is something that has always been ingrained in me throughout my whole life. The passion to serve others has been the driving force of most of what I do in my life. Whether it's something small like making a friend coffee while having a deep conversation, or volunteering in my community, I desire to help others in whatever aspect they need. But where did this desire to live a life for others come from? Well, grab a seat, cup of coffee, and let's find out. This is my mom, and this is my dad. Both of them came to the United States at a young age because their parents wanted to make a better life for them. From a young age, both my parents worked hard to help their parents with expenses. Their parents both did not know English, yet strived to work hard to support their children. My parents both worked hard in school and were able to make it through college. My mother became a court interpreter to help in legal cases for people who don't know English, and my father became a doctor to be able to help families who were sick. These examples I had growing up always pushed me to remember that I am capable of making a difference in people's lives by the way I choose to live. This was something that I carried with me through my early years of school. In elementary and middle school, I found myself being the friend and classmate that others would turn to when they needed help in math. This pushed me to help out in tutoring sessions during lunch, where I would help others with their homework. I began working at a tutoring center in high school, helping students from 3rd to 12th grade. I continued this throughout high school and wanted to further this desire of helping others in college. I decided to go to Cal Poly San Luis Obispo in order to pursue a degree in architecture so I could build affordable homes for those who did not have the resources to do so. I fought for this dream for 2 years before realizing my dream would not be able to be fulfilled in this career. After struggling with this, I decided that the common thread throughout my life had been math. I decided to come to Cal State Long Beach and get a degree in mathematics and become a teacher. The thing that always made me love math was how applicable the problem-solving and critical thinking skills were to everyday life. Most people think you need to know math because you will have to use the formulas you learn one day. Though this is true and you might have to use those formulas someday, the important skills learned in math is how to think of different ways to solve problems. That's the beauty of mathematics, not the memorization of methods of solving problems, but struggling with problems. This struggle trains your brain to think critically at any moment. This kind of thinking is universal and is something that all people should have access to, no matter their backgrounds or appearance. Educators should create an environment that builds the confidence of the students so that they can use the critical thinking and problem-solving skills in the real world. It's imperative that we encourage and support the students every chance we get, and that we give each student the help they need in order to reach their potential and hold each student to a high standard of success. To do this, it's critical that we as educators continue to expand our knowledge so that we know how to best support our students through any hardships they may be facing in order to best help our students succeed in the classroom and outside the classroom. Also, that we continue to remind ourselves that we are teachers to serve our students. Not every student will have the same background of education coming into my classroom, so I cannot expect them to be at the level of understanding they should be at. Part of cultural responsive teaching is understanding that they will be at different spots in their math career. As we have discussed in class, equity is what must be pushed for. Not every method that works for some students will work for all students. One incredible example I have seen in my observations has been a teacher understanding that students might understand the concepts of math but don't know the language. This one specific teacher heard a student say the answer to his question without knowing the proper term. The teacher asked him to share with his class in his own unique language of math. This allowed the student to share his knowledge of math even though he did not know the correct language. The teacher praised his explanation and then reminded the class of what the correct term was. This goes to show that students might know the concepts behind the mathematics required even without knowing the proper terms. This highlights the fact that no student should be told they cannot or should not do math. The beauty in math is that it is so universal. If you look at the history of math, it appears in Africa, Europe, Asia, and anywhere else that there has been people. Math was used by the rich, the poor, and scientists and farmers. My classrooms will learn about the different areas of math and where they came from. They will see their cultures represented by what they are taught. According to the 2010 census of the United States presented in our textbook, the population of minority groups has greatly increased and will continue to do so. California alone has 61% of its population being in a minority group. With this kind of diversity, it is important that I present to these students the math that has been contributed by their culture. I am thankful to be given the opportunity to serve my community and leading my students to be the problem solvers the world needs so that they may in turn serve their neighbors and their communities.